Want to stay informed, get educated, and feel empowered? Stay tuned where information is power.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Welcome to Edification, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The Center for Democracy and Good Governance is a sound organization established to promote and strengthen democracy.
I want the best for my family, so every meal has to be perfect. Every bite has to say, There's no doubt in my mind that the best in frozen meats and vegetables has to come from the Country Cold Store. Hams, turkeys, sausages, beef, pork, chicken. I just know my family is in safe hands. Thank you, Country Cold Store, for being there for us for the past 40 years.
There are some interesting specials available at Country Cold Store's Mini Mart while stocks last. Take advantage of these specials as they assist you to stretch your limited funds.
The Country Cold Store, providing the best in frozen meats and vegetables since 1969.
Need a personal integrity booster shot? Your prescription is right here. Tune in with Eddie Frederick every week. Information is power.
Attention all forward-thinking companies. Sure, you can do with a continuous positive boost to your image and impact your bottom line. If you think training is expensive, try not training, and you will experience a perpetual downward spiral in patronage on account of increased dissatisfied customers. Take things into your hands and engage the best at motivation and customer care training with a tried and tested track record. Visit www.efrederick.com now and learn how you can change the atmosphere in your business and improve the customer experience for everyone who does business with you. Spice Island Beach Resort and Belmont Estate are two such local entities of world renown that have benefited tremendously from ongoing customer care, social skills, and motivation training. Training changes everything for the better for any business and every team member. Enhance employee performance through increased awareness and passion for the job at hand. Greater potential in your workforce awaits you through engaged, high-energy training that works. Log on now, www.efrederick.com.
Eddie Frederick has got it all.
You're listening to Eddie Frederick, where good values make great radio.
Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Wonderful, folks, and good afternoon and welcome to our 266th edition of Edification. Of course, this is Mother's Day, and what a beautiful... As a matter of fact, I see one of my friends made a post recently, and he basically said every day is Mother's Day, because when people are dying, when people are in pain, people tend to, never mind how big a man you might be, is your mother you're calling from. You see how attached you are, that umbilical cord Folks, mothers are always in season. So happy Mother's Day to all of you, whether here in Grenada or outside within the diaspora. As soon as you come into the room today, remember, folks, you got an obligation and a responsibility. Share, comment, like, love, and just interact as you usually do. I promise you yet another riveting edition here as we delve into our subject matter on this wonderful Mother's Day. Too many people around us, folks, engage in playing small as their way of emphasizing their humility without realizing it is plain old disobedience to their destiny. Stop playing small. You're not achieving anything by playing small. When people call you in their sarcastic tone, big shot, you must say, hey, who knows me by my right name there? Who's that? Claim it. Because they're saying it to curse you. But you must claim it. And you take the wind out of their sail. Our angel number for today's discourse is 266, which is a message of balance, nurturing, and empowerment. It suggests that you are in a period of change and growth, encouraging you to trust your abilities and embrace opportunities for self-discovery. Stop doubting yourself. Stop standing in your own way. The combination of 2 and 6 highlights the importance of relationships, both romantic and familial, and of course the need to nurture and support those connections. Let's get down to business as we seek to elaborate on the subject matter today. Playing small is not humility. It is disobedience while your destiny goes untouched. You see, while we proceed with our plans for our lives, developments can either support or hinder our plans, and they are taking place at the same time, whether here in Grenada or in the international arena. And that is precisely why I always advocate for us to pay attention, subscribe to the right things that can help you open your vistas and cause you to entertain much needed flexibility in your very life. You see, the very few places I have visited in the last week had me rushing back home to my safe space as they reek with terrorizing service from hostile employees of these various places. So sad. Never thought I'd live long enough to see our people deteriorate to such low levels of hostility. We know how to pretend that we are nice when it suits us. But when it comes to our work, that activity that we do daily that is responsible for putting food on our table, taking care of our children and other basic needs to complete our standard of living and quality of life, we show the scantest of courtesies. You see, when will we learn that our work cannot be sustained without customers? Yes, the same people we treat poorly. You could imagine if people get as conscious as I am and just decide to shut that door and never come back to your place. You will lose business, and your business will not be able to sustain itself. It will close and you will be on the street looking for a job. As I will always say, it doesn't take any rocket science for us to deliver quality customer service. What it takes is for us to be first good people who are prepared to honor the golden rule of doing unto others as we would have them do unto us. We have to continuously take stock of ourselves to ensure that we remain in step to, with the evolving trends in business and in keeping with the dynamics of life. Something has got to be done about service in Grenada. And blaming this new generation of workers does not help, and it does not cut it. People do what they are allowed. Hello? People do what they are allowed. Management and owners of businesses need to take responsibility and take proper charge of their place. Spice Island Beach Resort and Netherlands Insurance do it. So too Does the national insurance scheme, just to name 3. Call them and find out what they are doing and follow suit. On another note, as recent as Easter Monday, Pope Francis passed, sending shockwaves through the Roman Catholic world. In fact, his legacy as an outspoken religious leader gained for him the highest regard of the ordinary man and woman in the world. He came, he conquered, and he left, having tried to make a difference just by his life. What magnanimity indeed. Then came the process for the selection of a new successor to lead the flock's 1.4 billion followers. I recall somewhere in the recesses of my brain learning a long time now that the Muslims think the only election process of a mass leader that comes close to perfect is the manner in which the Roman Catholics elect a pope. To begin with, cardinals, who are subheads of the religion of the world, wherever the Catholics worship, they are the subheads. And they converge now on the Vatican to begin the screening process to select the best candidate. When each of them votes, they represent their constituents. But cardinals are usually educated, pious, bright in their field. And so their decisions are taken to be intelligent. Hello? That is the word that is missing in democracy the world over. Intelligence. Could you imagine if each of the 1.4 billion Roman Catholics were qualified to vote to select a pope, how much confusion it would have brought, and how similar the outcome may have been to mimic politics as we know it, with inferiors given a chance to put their hat in the ring, all in the name of democracy? Our response to the outcome would have been, for sure, oh, Guide. After all, people get the leaders they deservedly elect, because the leaders they elect reflect who they are as a people. And that is sad. You see, the conclave was not long, as the choice was clear. And even if the speculation as to who was a likely candidate did not include the man who eventually succeeded, it shows you how we all should really sit quiet and wait and stop entertaining the guesswork of so-called flawed pundits, strategists, and analysts. For the election is real. The nonsense of even thinking because of tradition it could never be a black man, another Latino, a Filipino, or even an American has been disproved. You have to have what it takes. And if you have it, it doesn't matter what you look like, where you come from, and if you are outside of tradition. Catholics the world over have a new pope, and all we have to do is wait and watch. You see, folks, our lawlessly inclined people always question the rules when they come up against anyone in leadership who is prepared to enforce them. Rules were put in place as safeguards to ensure the uninterrupted continuity of any entity or institution. Could you imagine if we all start to disobey the rules that govern our streets in context of how we drive, how pedestrians use them, especially in the absence of sidewalks? Come on, folks. Lawyers have tried with special zeal to explain the rules regarding bail, time and time again. Yet for all, because we feel a person should not get bail, the judiciary must do things according to our flippant wishes and feelings. Judges and magistrates do not get the job just so. They have to have some acumen and ought to have gone through the process before being qualified as a legal officer of the court. They must follow the rules which are set in stone. Many of us hardly went to school, manifesting this reality of themselves as people who must have loved break time, let out, school over, and holiday as their favorite subjects on the timetable. Yet for all, we want to be the loudest when it comes to criticizing positions founded in the law, which we do not understand. You see, we always have an opinion on everything. Yet for all, our personal lives are in shambles. Our lawlessly inclined people question the efforts of leaders to enforce the rules too often. Look at the situation regarding the US not recognizing dual citizenship at all. To some people, that is a surprise. It's a shock. But why should it be? For years, the US authorities have turned a blind eye to it. And this has come to an end with the recent election of Donald Trump administration, which has been sparing nothing to enforce the rules. The long habit of thinking a wrong thing right has overcome so many of us that when reality hits, we still hold on to what we believe in the face of what obtains and embark on arguments we just cannot win. Our youth parliament here in Grenada also has rules for everyone who is willing to serve. And everyone who is willing to serve ought to abide by them. What we are seeing ventilating in the press this weekend was brought to the attention of the authorities, who threw a blind eye to it. If the rules are clear, there should be no fear regarding their enforcement from the outset. Our problem in Grenada today is that we have too many appeasers in leadership positions. And hence, way is given to do what you want. Tell them it's so we day. Yet for all, we want to boast of following Westminster-style democracy, even though our wayward culture does not support its dictates. Let's see what will come of the intervention of the Clerk of Parliament in this saga. We see all sorts of fools talking about constitution. Youth Parliament has nothing to do with the constitution. There are rules, and the rules must be followed. To me, it is straightforward. Act, resolve, close the chapter, and move on. Who want to cry wolf, cry wolf. We have a lot of old teeth pointing in the direction of decent, upstanding citizens and referring to them as crooks, con men, people who are corrupt. And you know what is interesting? We have members of the general public who are actually believing these thieves and dirtinesses in their accusations of decent people. What does that say of these people in the society? They have to be crooks and dirtinesses themselves. That is sad, but it's a sad deduction to have to make of our people. How could you be believing our old thief, whether male or female, because we know where the word is coming from? The accusers are nothing but damaged goods in our society. But we believing them and the aspersions that they cast on decent citizens, the projections of these old nastinesses, we are believing them. What is wrong with us as a people? You see, our national doors on this goddamn dishonesty needs to be slammed shut, hard and tight. And you see, since June 2022, as a nation, we need to continually object to dishonesty in any form. We need to show the world that we have no tolerance for anyone who is inclined to be dishonest. After all, I believe this Jewish proverb sums it up well. A half-truth is a whole lie. We have to make every effort to stop living in this fake world where people thank us for a lie and get offended by the truth we speak. You see, if we follow the pattern set by our humble Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell, we will surely realize that there is greatness in each and every Grenadian, because great Grenada is a great place indeed. So you see, folks, you see, playing small is not humility. It's disobedience while your destiny goes untouched. Let's take a little break and we'll come right back with a lot of more fire. You know, you see how this started, eh? So you know it's going to be a lot.
Want to stay informed, get educated, and feel empowered? Stay tuned, where information is power.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
This is Edification, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The strength of views and opinions expressed during edification are not necessarily a reflection or representation of the sponsors and/or affiliates of this program.
Oh yes, folks, we have a lot of ground to cover today, so gotta stop all the intermission and get moving. Welcome back. For those of you who are just joining, I'd like to welcome you and wish you a happy Mother's Day if you are a mother. If you are a guardian, you may not have birthed anybody, but you're taking care of somebody. You're a mother. Bless your heart. Take great care today. Folks, playing small is not humility. I think we just learned that. It's disobedience while your destiny goes untouched. You see, there is a widely held misconception that humility means downplaying our gifts, minimizing our presence, and stepping aside to let others shine. While you know, modesty and grace are admirable traits, there is a dangerous line between humble and hiding. Playing small, refusing to step into your full potential under the guise of staying humble, is not virtue. It is avoidance. And worse still, it is disobedience. You see, disobedience is your calling. Why? Because you are coward. You never developed your faculty of confidence. So that disobedience to your calling, to the purpose that was written into your bones, and to the people whose lives may never be touched because you never showed up. Isn't that interesting? That's what disobedience is. And too many of you are disobedient because you're worried about what people go think, what they go say, how they go feel. That's not your business. True humility is not self-removal, you know. It's not playing a supporting role in your own story. Humility is recognizing that your gifts are not of your own making, but they are still yours to steward. When we shrink ourselves to make others comfortable or delay action without, you know, not even without, but out of fear of being too much, we are not practicing humility, you know. We are choosing comfort over calling. And often we cloak it in noble sounding language to avoid facing the truth that we are just afraid. You see, fear wears many disguises: perfectionism, procrastination, overthinking, or The favorite of high potential people, false humility. We tell ourselves we're not ready. We convince ourselves someone else is better suited. We decide that blending in is safer than standing out. And while we wait, opportunities expire, doors get closed, destinies go untouched. To play small is to say no to the very thing that you were built to carry. You were born with unique skills, folks. You were born with unique ideas and influence that no one else can offer in exactly the same way. When you retreat from your assignment, that gap doesn't get filled by someone else. It simply remains unfilled. There is a cost to your shrinking. Someone's breakthrough, encouragement, or hope might be locked inside your obedience. Obedience then is not about perfection. It is about showing up. It is saying yes even when you're unsure. It is honoring your gift by using it, not by hiding it under the weight of second guessing and self-doubt. Obedience does not ask for guarantees. It asks for courage. Always remember that, folks. It is high time we understand that destiny does not chase disobedience. It waits, it watches, and it weeps when potential goes to the grave untouched. Yet so many of you out there procrastinate and shelve your purpose, pretending to be humble. Every time you dismiss your voice, delay your vision, or disqualify yourself prematurely, your destiny remains unfulfilled. Not because you weren't equipped, but because you chose safety over service. Remember, the true purpose of life is that we serve one another. Let's be clear. You are not doing the world any favors by playing small. The world is not served by your smallness nor your silence. It is elevated by your full engagement, by your willingness to stand in your truth, offer your gift, and walk in purpose. Maintain your focus, of course. That is not arrogance. That is alignment. You see, humility and boldness are not enemies. In fact, they are siblings. One reminds you that it is not all about you, and the other reminds you to show up anyway. So what will you choose? To keep hiding behind humility, or to rise up in obedience and trust that your destiny is not too big for you? It was made for you. Your future is waiting, folks. Your impact is waiting. And no one can take your place, believe that or not. Real and genuine humility is a very good thing, essential even. But it must be understood for what it truly is. You see, true humility isn't about shrinking or pretending to be less than you are. Hell no. It is about having a clear, honest view of yourself, your strengths, your limitations, and your place in something bigger than you. It allows you to serve others without arrogance and to lead without needing to dominate. It keeps your ego in check without forcing you to dim your light. In other words, humility isn't weakness. It is strength that doesn't need to boast. It is confidence that isn't loud. And it is power that chooses grace. Tell me, folks, don't you know somebody that you could put a name on this? In other words, humility isn't weakness. It is strength that doesn't need to boast. It is confidence that isn't loud. And it is power that chooses grace. Doesn't that sound like Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell? And all those other dirtiness outside there have a hole in their soul because of who he is, genuinely humble. You see, when humility is real and rooted in self-awareness, it becomes a superpower. It fosters better relationships, invites learning, and builds credibility. The key is to distinguish it from fear or self-sabotage. That is the key. Because those can wear humility's mask, but they don't share its heart. Folks, I am certain that you would not mind me sharing a short comparison between true humility and false humility. Let's first look at true humility. Genuine self-awareness. It recognizes strengths and weaknesses without exaggeration or denial. True humility is others-centered. Focus is on lifting others up, not seeking praise. Open to growth. It accepts feedback and correction gracefully. True humility is secure in identity. It doesn't need to self-deprecate or prove worth. Oh no. True humility is quiet confidence. Lets actions speak louder than its words. But false humility, oh God, we have a lot of it around us. Self-focused, uses modesty to fish for compliments or validation. Exaggerated self-deprecation, downplays abilities insincerely. I'm terrible at this, while seeking reassurance. False humility shows pride in disguise, wants to appear humble, but craves admiration. False humility is defensive, rejects feedback under the guise of humbleness. False humility is performative, makes a show of humility to manipulate perception. Altogether, false humility is toxic. And we know people whose names can be called in that quadrant. Too many of them, and oh Lord, they run amok all over social media. The key difference is, folks, true humility is freedom from ego and toxicity, while false humility is ego in hiding. Humility is a superpower, folks, and it's a powerful perspective. It's actually deeply rooted in wisdom traditions, particularly in biblical principle. Whoever humbles himself shall be exalted. You see, Deacon Mitchell humbled himself and became mammothly exalted, much to the jealousy and envy of the haters, the old thieves, scoundrels, and crooks of our society. He did not arrive in the NDC and ingratiate himself on the party. No, he saw a need. The party realized they too had a need for leadership that can win, and he offered himself, being fully equipped to do so, and hence his exaltation. Humility that leads to exaltation isn't passive or self-deprecating. It's grounded in strength. This kind of humility positions you to be entrusted, not just elevated. Why? Because it shows you can handle influence without being consumed by it. Isn't that interesting? You find Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell looks like he's consumed by the influence that he has? Hell no. Oh no. You never see the things that he does, which are natural to him, could never have been done by his immediate predecessor. Because his immediate predecessor was fraudulent in his whole makeup. Very unfortunate. And that you put yourself out time after time after time to support that con man all these years. You see, here's what that kind of humility looks like. Proper humility. It acknowledges source. You recognize your gifts and value, but you don't take all the credit. That mindset keeps you grounded even when doors open. It serves others rather than making everything about you. Your focus shifts to impact and contribution. And paradoxically, people trust and elevate those who lift others. It learns constantly. Humble people remain teachable, and teachable people keep growing. So it's no surprise when they get promoted, recognized, or even favored. But on the flip side, false humility, the kind that avoids being seen, denies your own talents, or fears success, it often leads to missed opportunities. That's not noble. That's avoidance, often rooted in fear or conditioning. And in short, the humility that leads to exaltation is not about playing small. It's about playing your part well with integrity, intention, and without ego. If we follow the pattern set by the humble Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell, we will surely realize that there is greatness in each and every one of us as Grenadians, because Grenada is indeed a great place. Playing small is not humility. It's disobedience while your destiny goes untouched. Folks, we're racing against time because we have a pretty extended program today. Stay tuned. We're coming right back after I come up for some air here. Stay tuned.
Want to stay informed, get educated, and feel empowered? Stay tuned where information is power.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
This is Edification, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The strength of views and opinions expressed during edification are not necessarily a reflection or representation of the sponsors and/or affiliates of this program.
Wonderful, folks, wonderful. And for those of you just joining, let me say welcome, welcome, welcome. It's a plum-pleasing pleasure to have you in this particular room today. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Happy Mother's Day to the mothers just joining us. Of course, if you're missing anybody on the live today, you know what to do. Tag them. Come on, give them a reminder. Because I see from time to time some of the comments, people are saying, well, how come nobody remind me? How come I didn't get notification? Come on, do your part. I have to do mine, and I'm going back to do mine. So welcome back. I am sure many of you are familiar with the biblical prose from either Proverbs or Psalms. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. You see, fear of the Lord doesn't mean terror, but reverent awe, humility, and submission to God's authority. Beginning implies that wisdom starts with recognizing God's supremacy. Human understanding flows from this posture. True wisdom isn't just intellectual. It's moral and relational, rooted in honoring God, that unseen force as master. In this, we are called to walk by faith and not by sight. And that is when we know we are real believers. Let's just take a quick look at false wisdom versus true wisdom. You see, worldly wisdom, according to James 3:15, relies on pride, self-sufficiency, human logic apart from God. This makes one toxic to the max. We don't have to look too far to find them. We see them on social media, taking in air, filling up their lungs. You know, you see them all the time on lives. It's sad, eh? Really sad. Some people really need to be protected from themselves. You see, godly wisdom, according to James 3:17, begins with humility before the Creator and shapes how we live. Connection to humility. You see, folks, this fear aligns with true humility, acknowledging our limits and dependence on the Master, while false humility still centers the self, pretending to be small to appear virtuous. This is a truth no one talks about, folks. You see, intelligence can ruin your life. Not because you're wrong, but rather because you see too much. You notice the fake smile. You hear the lies under their compliments. You see the cracks in the system and the flaws in people and the games they play to survive. You outgrow conversations and people, and so you can't enjoy the party anymore. That is because your brains analyze the why behind every spoken word, and that ruins the magic. Most people get to live in blissful ignorance, as we see all too often around us. But in the case of a few, they are cursed with clarity. Here is the twisted part. The smaller you are, the lonelier it gets, because surface level doesn't stimulate you. Real depth is what you are known for, and that scares people away from you. So what do? You pretend, you shrink, you play dumb to fit in. Not me. Deep down, you know, this world wasn't built for people like you. It was built to reward those who don't ask why. So if you feel out of place, you are not broken. You are just awake in a world that's asleep. And that is both your burden and, of course, your power. As you probably know, I follow Patrick Lumumba, that Pan-Africanist lawyer who advocates on behalf of continental Africa to unite. He once said something that is so applicable to us here in the region. He says, once the masses are given the right to vote, they proceed to elect thieves. And once they elect the thieves, they expect the thieves to behave like angels. When the people do not know what they want, the government they create is nothing but a confederacy of fools. Unquote. You see, the African continent is said not to be poor. And just like our region here in the Caribbean, we are all poorly managed and poorly led. But we go out in our droves to choose these poor leaders and these poor managers. I keep to myself, folks, and I move in my own lane. Take this from me as excellent tobacco well pressed. Some of you will do well to be so advised. Move in your own lane, for the traffic is not busy there at all. I do not stretch outside of what I was called to do in this life. Oh no, I have no interest in anything other than what I have been called to do in this life. Mine has always been and still continues to be a life of service, which circumstances have caused me to become very selective about. I have learned to focus on my own journey and my own path, which no one can distract me from. At this late stage in my life, no friend, no relative, no member of my bloodline can take me off my path. You can stay on the outside and with no information judge because of how you feel about me all you want. You cannot change the stubborn focus I am on. You see, while you are talking, I will be achieving in context of my own path. The greatest thing about me is that I never worry about what others have to say about me and what others are doing. I am doing me, and the more I focus on that, is the stronger I become in my purpose and journey. Folks, take a hint now. I can only give you sound advice based on where I sit and what works for me. Trust me, I love the benefits of my current life. It took me a long time to get to this place, you know. Thank God I am here now. My circle is intentionally small, and I know I have influence within that realm. And so I am careful to exude care, compassion, concern, and hear me now, brutal honesty to build on the trust and loyalty of many years of togetherness. I may have the least by way of material collections, but my focus is different. The level of reasoning and soundness of wise advice and counsel I bring to the table are cherished as the needed motivation and inspiration that contribute to the effortless glide my circle can afford to take just after one engagement with me. I am sticking to my side of the road. Trust me, folks, it works for me. I thank God that only a select few are let into my world, because trust isn't something I hand out freely. Hell no. You see, there is no secret that people who are chosen ones are usually targets of curse, witchcraft, and just everything you can imagine that is negative, which jealous and envious people would wish for them. Interestingly, these negative things never take them. Our world has become full of rituals, spells, hexes, and incantations. Spells, in other words. Folks, we have to watch that. A serious truth that no one wants to say aloud. Witchcraft does not work on the chosen ones. It doesn't matter how ancient the altar is, how many candles are lit, how many ancestors are invoked and called to life again. When you are chosen, the enemy can gather every dark priest from every continent and still fail. Why? Why, you may ask? Simply because you were not born like them. You were sent, branded before birth, stamped with divine intelligence in your spiritual code. Your soul is not on the general grid for everyone to have access to. You're indeed rare. You are indeed rare, one of a kind. You are under divine jurisdiction. The only way witchcraft can touch a chosen one is if you agree with it, if you let fear open your gate, if you let distraction lower your field or your frequency. The moment you stand in remembrance, the moment you say, I am the throne, every spell is broken, every hex reverses, every evil eye goes blind. You see, the witches and sorcerers, they know this, you know. They are not afraid of your church or pastor. They're afraid of you. The one who walks in silence but carries thunder. Your DNA remembers what theirs doesn't. You don't need to cast. You only need to speak. Folks, you cannot curse what God has blessed. There is a curse for every, a cause rather for every curse. If you treat people badly, you trap yourself into a cycle of bad karma, for you will reap what you sow. When you sow bad seeds, something bad will come back to haunt you always. Folks, try to be a chosen one in disguise now. You were not born to blend in. You were born to stand out. You were born to break bloodlines and rebuild worlds. I happen to know every one of you listening to me right now, you were born into the family that you were born into, to be that one to break the cycle of poverty. Stop thinking that you have to catch what your siblings have, what your mother and father had. No, you were born to stand out. The system under which we live trained us to forget that. So let's take a little reminder here as to who we really are. You see, we are not just spiritual nor sensitive. We are chosen ones in disguise. You see, you don't belong anywhere. Church is generally too shallow. New age, too fake. Family, too draining. That's not rejection. That is you following divine extraction. You were pulled out of the crowd because you were never meant to follow it. Your dreams are attacked. You don't just sleep, you travel, you war, you see things before they happen. Nightmares aren't signs of weakness, they're signs you are active in realms that most people pretend don't exist. You see, narcissists, they'll flock to you. You know why? Your light triggers their lack. They come to feed, not to love. You're not broken. You are targeted because you carry codes, man. Royalty always attracts counterfeits, fakes. You cannot do a normal job at all, as clocking in crushes your spirit. You can't fake it for a paycheck because your assignment isn't in the local system. It isn't in the system of this earthly world. Your assignment is to build a new one. You're not lazy. You are encoded for dominion. You see, people come to you for healing. And then what do? They ghost you. They cry on your shoulder, drink your wisdom, then disappear. They weren't looking for genuine transformation. They were looking for free light. So stop dimming your power to feel needed. Every time you rise, something tries to take you out. Sudden illness, weird warfare, loss out of nowhere. You see, those are not coincidences. They are opposition to your ascension. The darkness has seen your future and it's trying hell hard to rewrite it. Folks, there's too much greatness in each and every Grenadian, judging from the role we once played on the world stage. After all, Grenada is a great place indeed. Playing small is not humility. It is disobedience while your destiny goes untouched. It is high time we learn to stand in the truth of who we are, grab a larger vision of ourselves as a people. But we have to learn to stand alone and operate in our own lane. Let's take a little break and we come with our fourth segment. We have an additional segment today. So we'll come back with our fourth segment and get moving. So let's take a little come up for air here.
Want to stay informed, get educated, and feel empowered? Stay tuned where information is power.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
This is Edification, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The strength of views and opinions expressed during edification are not necessarily a reflection or representation of the sponsors and/or affiliates of this program.
All right, folks. So we're back again. And for those of you just joining, I see welcome. do the honorable thing, hit that share button. And if you see anybody that you're accustomed seeing, as late as you are, come on, give them a tag and let them come in the room. So welcome back. Folks, you must not fake your lifestyle. There's a price you have to pay for that. We all have broke days, down days, sad days, depressed days, even mad days. And even days that we do not feel to get up and get out of the house. But recognizing that our standard of living and quality of life that we currently enjoy require us to show up regardless, for fear that they slip into levels we may not like. We ought to show up regardless, and of course consistently. That is how winning is done. Showing up only to eat a food will continue to give you more of the same. Change your outlook and you will change your life. I did promise you folks somewhere along the line, even in my intro, that I have a letter to share regarding a very interesting area of concern among us. This letter is timely, well written, and aims to stimulate some measure of intellectualism in each of us. Take a listen. Dear Mr. Frederick, I follow you religiously, and I thank both YouTube and Facebook for their archive, so that when it is not convenient for me to view you live and take you in hook, line, and tinker, as you used to say eons ago while on Spice Capital Radio back in the day, I can go back and take you in just to catch up. I am so addicted to your brawn and at times vulgar frankness, to quote you again, to call it out and say it as it is, because this society really needs shock treatment, as you would always say again. You see how much I follow you. I can even quote you regularly. I know young adults today who grew up on you, as their parents and grandparents would encourage them back then to sit with them and take you in. To a certain extent, I am one of those. I recently saw a post that you made relating to the ungrateful nature of many of our people who have deteriorated into members of the gimme gimme gang, as it were. They could never be satisfied. Just how the nation has descended into the lawlessly inclined existence, so are many totally inclined dependents and entitled over the years operate without gratitude and with impunity, I must add. A development that is terribly annoying to so many of us. We have givers, takers, and measurers. And as you would say, needy, greedy, and vultures. Givers are drastically reduced over the years because of the increased takers among us. Even family members abroad are complaining about their relatives who remained here and have become wards on them, totally dependent on what they send from the US, Canada, the UK, and even from next door, Trinidad and Tobago. It is like they do not follow news and understand and appreciate that the tide has turned and things are hard everywhere. Many of them sit in wait and are never willing to sacrifice anything to say, well, let me send a packet of tamarind balls for my relatives abroad, even though they know how much they like it. It is not the amount you can afford to send, but it is the thought that counts. I read your daily inspirational posts on Facebook every morning, and I must say, I look forward to them. They keep reminding us of the need to be grateful. At one point in time, I wondered about you, and if you were living according to your consistent introductory urgings on gratitude, only to get to find out, according to someone who knows you well enough, that you are a forever grateful person. No wonder you are so blessed. When I heard you say on Sunday last about how ingrained the word contentment is in your spirit, I was happy, because so many people nowadays have no concept of contentment. Sad indeed, and this lack of regard for contentment causes them to exhibit their lust, thirst, and hunger for more. These greedy people are like parasites to any society. I read a post recently by someone who regretted using their craft in support of politicians and I had to marvel. I entered amazement when I saw who this was coming from. It bothered me a bit, and so I set out to do the research, only to find out that that person had to be kidding indeed. I received a list of things and financial opportunities this person received and continues to receive from the politicians, and thought this person was either unconsciously greedy or just provocative to see what response they would get. Mr. Frederick, please bear with me, as my response is likely to be lengthy, and I hope you would not mind sharing in spite of its length. I was happy to see your pearl of a post, which was timely and appropriate. The one that stated, some people are like bottomless pits. The more you give is the more they want. Such people will never accept no. I have no idea if you were privy to that person's post, but yours acted as a touching, appropriate response indeed. As spirit-filled and God-fearing as you come across, I would not be surprised that this coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous for true. You were spot on. I am an avid follower of the teachings and vibes of the late, great Nelson Mandela, a humble, forgiving, resilient visionary, a leader who triumphed over oppression with grace, never letting power overshadow his humility. In the same way, I have read up quite a bit on Patrice Lumumba, Congolese independence leader and the first Prime Minister of the Democratic Republic of Congo, then the Republic of the Congo, after it gained independence from Belgium in 1960. Lumumba was a passionate advocate for African unity, independence, and economic freedom from African nations. This anti-colonial leader, Lumumba, was ousted in a coup just months after taking office, arrested and eventually assassinated on January 17, 1961, in a brutal killing orchestrated by domestic and foreign actors. Interestingly, there is a Professor Patrick Locke Otiendo, PLO Lumumba, who is a renowned Kenyan lawyer, scholar, and public speaker, known for his eloquence, strong stance against corruption, and advocacy for Pan-Africanism. I follow Professor Lumumba, who is widely respected across Africa for his powerful speeches promoting good governance, integrity, African unity, and self-reliance. His rhetorical style, marked by rich language and historical references, has made him a popular figure in academic, political, and Pan-African circles. Why am I referencing these two men, you may ask? I know you have an appreciation for history and all that good stuff that buttress and support your regularly strong deliveries. And so I feel it absolutely necessary to make the point that when anyone wants to bestow the name of great world figures onto themselves, they must embody some of their virtues at least, or at least be seen to be striving to embody them. Anyone, whether locally or otherwise, who wants to bestow the name Mandela, Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Abraham Lincoln, Maurice Bishop, Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, Frederick Douglass, Booker T. Washington, Washington Carver, Eric Gary, etc., 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 must not only seek to bestow the name onto themselves, but must be willing to walk in their footsteps. When one thinks of Mandela, for instance, he did not become as magnanimous a human being without sacrifice and without genuine humility. Nelson Mandela did not just speak God and behave as a prayer warrior with loads of Father God, Father God, Father God, while allowing his life to run diametrically opposed to his pleadings. Mandela was a highly spiritual man who was never known for greed. No, Nelson Mandela was never known for greed. In fact, He was widely admired for his selflessness, integrity, and humility. If any one of us know anyone here locally, regionally, or even internationally to be so called in admiration of the late great Nelson Mandela, it would be instructive to investigate their fabric to see whether they are walking the walk or just casually talking the talk. You see, despite becoming South Africa's first black president, Mandela rejected a presidential salary increase and donated a third of his earnings to charity. He lived modestly even after leaving office, avoiding the lavish lifestyles of some leaders. He chose reconciliation over revenge, prioritizing national unity over personal gain. His life reflected a deep commitment to justice and equality, not wealth or power. Greed was simply not in his character. He was not a bottomless pit that the more you pour into, it just cannot be filled. Anyone who therefore wants to adopt his majestic Mandela handle as their reference, whether on a personal basis or as an artist or in any other capacity, even in jest, should strive to embody his core values, honoring his legacy with integrity. They must serve others selflessly, be courageous yet principled, inspire hope, not division, take their time to earn and not act out of childlike tantrum when they are told no because they are begging too much. You see, Mr. Frederick, adopting Mandela's name is a sacred responsibility, not just a brand. If you bear it, you must live it. As he himself said, what counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived. It is what difference we have made to the lives of others. So for anyone using any famously admired historic figures, names, would they approve of how you are using their names? If not, rethink your path. Mr. Frederick, I thank you for your indulgence and wish you well with all your endeavors as you continue to stand in the gap for all of us. You are a sacrificial lamb indeed. You have been proving time and time again how valuable you are to Grenada, and gratitude for what you do will come all in the fullness of time. Continue your training as you are having impact, one person at a time. You're indeed a local treasure. End of letter. Folks, there is too much greatness in each and every one of us as Grenadians, judging from the role we once played on the world stage. After all, Grenada is a great place indeed. Playing small is not humility. It is disobedience while your destiny goes untouched. It is high time we learn to stand in the truth of who we are, grab a larger vision of ourselves as a people. When I return, I shall respond to this letter and deliver more inspirational thoughts to wrap up on this Mother's Day 2025. Continue to stay tuned, folks. We're coming back with conclusive thunder.
Want to stay informed, get educated, and feel empowered? Stay tuned where information is power.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
This is Edification, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The strength of views and opinions expressed during edification are not necessarily a reflection or representation of the sponsors and/or affiliates of this program.
You're tuned to Eddie Frederick, where information is power.
And as we say, you better believe it. Information is power. Folks, when you have information that you can corroborate, verify, and then claim it your own, it becomes your knowledge. So position yourself well, folks. Pay attention. How can I respond to this letter? Should I? My answers to these two questions were well deliberated upon. And truth be told, to respond is to water its impact down. I do believe in gratitude. I do believe in showing my appreciation always. In fact, my close friends and people who have reached out otherwise in whatever way or ways to me over the years have experienced my continued and continuing gratefulness. To do otherwise is to fly in the face of my upbringing. My mother, who mothered and fathered her 5 bastard children, always drilled in us, the more you say thanks is the more God gives you to be thankful for. This has been proved to be true just about every day of my life. My true friends are the family I have chosen. And even though I hold fast to who I am, they understand the reasons why I am me. Simply because I understand and appreciate why they are who they are and accept them for who they are. We meet each other with respect, and so we are able to proceed. I would not have necessarily seen what this person may have referenced regarding the recent registration of ingratitude of a particular person. Having received this letter, apparently hard at the heels of having seen the post and mine, which to them was an adequate response to it, they penned that inspired letter to me. I felt duty-bound to share it simply because of the manner in which God sought to position himself anonymously in between. What a coincidence indeed. But you know what they say? Coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. You see, social media has been presenting itself as a platform for nonsense, unease, confusion, and mayhem. A venue for stupidity and dunceness, which so many have normalized. Very unfortunate indeed, especially as there are so many other facilities on the same social media that can be useful for the growth and development of our people. But instead, they gravitate to the things of the gutter, attracting the attention of their baser instincts. Really sad indeed. How can you grow if you are anchored to the bottom? You cannot grow. You will stay at the bottom and get force ripe. As a result, I have muted, blocked, and deleted so many people, not to mention ignored so many additional friend requests, because I cherish my peace more than anything else at this point in my life. I really do not want to catch what so many people in Grenada seem to have. Too many people seem comfortable with being dunce, and since I have evolved over the years, there is no way I will ever return to that sterile place in my life. You see, Ralph Waldo Emerson puts it nicely. The mind, once stretched by a new idea, never returns to its original dimensions. I hold fast to that. My current state of growth precludes me from volunteering to be anchored to zero. And so I would not see a lot of things so many of you who do not control your social media environment would have access to. There are too many unhappy people on social media who set out to create drama for no reason while faking perfect appearances. Some of them barely touching their back while their eyelash extending like umbrellas, you know. These artificial people, hungry, you know, KFC in their belly, you know, poisoning them, you know. Grenada has too many people who have been given loads of opportunity to earn their keep and whose inability to spend wisely cause them to live large for the moment, and when they take stock of themselves, they end up with absolutely nothing and no means of taking care of themselves while they're complaining the country hard. But the largesse of 95 to 2022, for the most part, dry up, finish. But they always say it is God's will that the proceeds acquired through dishonest means must end up in the hands of honest people. We have heard of several of them who received of the largesse of the state between 95 and 2022 for the most part, who are today catching hell and complaining loudly, things hard. While under the current dispensation, they too are not spared of their share of supporters whose conduct mimics that of those same people from the other side. And all the while they are praying and praying, Father God, Father God, Father God, making a whole set of pappy show, but deceitful as all hell. I have to be telling too many people lately who come up to me to ask me if I saw what someone said about me on Facebook page. Oh, nonsense. The mere fact that these people have access to these pages tells me all I need to know about them, because I don't see these pages at all. As fast as they come up in my feed, I X them out. And if perchance they ever return, I seek assistance, proper technological assistance, to get rid of them altogether. I don't want these vagrants around me, whether it is in the stratosphere or in real life. I have control, and therefore I take control. Many of the Father Godders can be seen through for who they really are, and so I avoid them completely. For most of the time, they are in show business, and it's costs they have. We all have to realize that our biggest haters are often friends we outgrew, you know. Greedy snakes disguised as friends, disguised as followers, disguised as supporters, who are never satisfied with what they get and continue to want more. Father God, Father God, Father God, and praying as if they're so, you know, connected. All that time is good, they do good, you know. I firmly believe, folks, that you cannot put yourself in a place that God can only put you in by the humility of your heart. You could never do that on your own. God exalts the humble. And if you take the high place, pride precedes the fall. It can only bring you down. And when God brings you down, he can only replace you with somebody who's been in a low place. We are in a season now where high places are being brought down. Every mountain and every hill will be made known. Every valley shall be exalted. This is the day of divine exchange. You see, some relational doors in your life need to be closed permanently. One of the greatest sabotages that we do to ourselves is many times we leave the relational door cracked, just in case the person is a better friend this time around. Oh God, all you shallowy. When you have given a person a chance, and chance after chance after chance, and they have consistently devastated your life, at a certain point, you got to nail that goddamn door shut. You got to barricade that door. You got to do what you need to do to make sure that that door is never opened again. And I'm not talking about walking in unforgiveness here, I can forgive you and still not be bothered with you, period. Because I understand your nature and who you are. And I am not foolish enough to pick up snakes and act like I'm surprised when they bite me. So this is what we must do. We must put a snake in a snake's place. And while you are at it, make sure that that snake never has the opportunity to offend you on this level again. So what I'm going to do, I am going to shut that goddamn door, and I'm not going to leave it cracked. This relationship will never happen again. This friendship will never be engaged again. And I am going to love you from a distance through it all. But I'm going to love me first and foremost. So stop leaving doors cracked. Stop giving people a second chance to finish you off. Because everybody who desires you does not deserve you. Shut the goddamn door and see your blessings flow. Folks, I was going somewhere recently, this last week, and I bounced up a certain, how to call that element, a caricature. Because that person never looked more like a caricature in my eyes than reality holds them to be. And of course, I just had a smirk on my face. And having seen the person and our eyes locked, I proceeded to look straight through the person lovingly. You could see the person winced a bit to say hello, but picked up that they shouldn't. And I just shook my head within myself. And you can see that the person was overly embarrassed. Overly embarrassed. It's sad, sad, sad. You see, when you are a chosen one, folks, you carry with you the spirit of discernment. You could see false people from a mile. You could see insincere hellos even before they come out. People say I'm very intimidating. You are intimidated. I am not intimidated. What is happening to you is my light blinds you. You know you can't come with me with stupidness, because I always tell all you, when you come in, come good, because I'm very okay to just walk into a place, say my normal, courteous, hello, good morning, and just keep it moving. I don't need to talk. I don't need any engagement. But if you're sincere, you have no fear. Just come. You will be intimidated if you know you're not sincere, because you know I can see through you. You see, when you know what you just say, let me hit some vernacular here now. When you know what you just say, you must conclude on me as being intimidating. Why? Because you're intimidated, your guilt is playing with you. That's all. Folks, the discipline that it takes to maintain your physical health, your spiritual health, and your mental health does not leave any room for you to have time to be messy and all up in people's business. Minding your own business is a full-time job. I'm sure you appreciate that. Show me where you have time to involve yourself in lifestyles and things that are not productive. If you are taking care of your physical, spiritual, and mental health. Folks, those are full-time job. I've got to try too hard to keep my physical, spiritual, and mental health together for me to spare any time to play with nonsense. It takes so much time to keep one's mind straight. You got to think through things, folks. You've got to encourage yourself. You've got to learn how to set, and well, not set as much as let some stuff just go. And then take yourself through some mental exercises. We have to meditate. We have to keep quiet and still ourselves. You don't need noise all the time. Sometimes you need some silence. If you pay attention, you would realize that people who are all up in your business and who are quick to criticize you, they never take time for themselves, and they seldom ever look good, behave good, display strong mental faculties. They're not spending enough time on their physical, spiritual, and mental well-being, and so they deteriorate right before your eyes while they attempt to victimize you. Folks, listen to me carefully. When you see people who look good for their age, and you have to tell them that, hey boy, you really look good for your age. Wow, girl, what you doing? You're drinking young oil. Oh, you look good. So, and there's no reciprocity. The person can't tell you the same. You need to take stock. You need to take stock. You see, it's because you're minding people business to gather much is why you could never be told what you tell people. Because you're not spending enough time on yourself. You see, so many of people need to seek divine guidance to identify who they are and who their real friends are. You may discover that what appears to be your circle is actually your cell, and the people in that circle aren't your friends, you know. They are your cellmates. The only reason why all of you are close is because you are chained to the same negative and nasty habits. If you break the chain that habit is attached to, you will have nothing in common. You see, a cellmate only gives you a caged mindset. They encourage you to stay where you are because nobody has ever made it out. A real friend gives you a mindset of freedom. They encourage you to be the first one to make it out, even if it means they have to be left behind. So make sure you hang with your circle of friends and not a cell full of inmates who have committed and continue to commit the same crime. I am one who believes success is spiritual, you know, folks. And I also believe that being average could be likened to being demonic. What a bold statement. When you are called to build something, to share your gifts, to live at a higher frequency, and you refuse because it's too hard or too scary, you are rejecting your divine assignment. Too many of us are guilty of this because we prefer to mind other people's business with our valuable and scarce time that we could be using to build ourselves. You see, playing small is not humility, it's disobedience. You were chosen and given the ideas, talents, and dreams for a reason. Hiding them because you are uncomfortable, that's exactly what the enemy wants. To keep you muted, to keep you busy, doubting yourself while your destiny goes untouched. Success, therefore, is not selfish, folks. It's obedience. It is saying yes to the life God has carved out for you since you were in the womb. It's a warfare. Every single day you choose comfort over calling, you lose a piece of your soul. Remember, success is spiritual warfare, and it's time to fight back. So when you come around me, folks, I want you to make sure your intentions are good. I tend to feel what you are carrying. From the time I shake your hand or connect through a bounce, I know whether I want to remember you or not. And that is precisely why I tell you people meet you before they meet you. I know what I'm talking about. Each and every one of us owes everybody love. What we do not owe them is access. You see, you may even experience contempt. When you withdraw and live a focused life, You are wondered about, and people cannot easily x-ray your tendencies and habits. This makes them tentative about you. That is why you need to be able to gain and maintain the level of respect on account of the mystery your character is shrouded in. I cannot help but notice how tentative people are when it comes to dealing with me. Why? I stand up for myself, and in most vigorous ways at that. When I think of all that I have been through as part of my evolution as a person, the persecution I endured under the period 1995 to 2022 for the most part, and how I was able to weather the storm, I am qualified to slam doors tightly and even nail them permanently shut, as against leaving any small crack for any likelihood of repeat of past experiences with people. We must remember that people come into our lives for either a reason, season, or a lifetime. Pay attention, and you will surely see which ones fit where. Nothing is ever made to last forever. In the same way, no relationship is made so either. You see, we must cherish the here and now, for in a jiffy, things can change. People love you most times for what they can get from you, for what you can give to them. So they mostly like you and profess their love for you based on the need they can make of you. When that need is satisfied, you feel the oxygen leaving the atmosphere as they seek greener pastures to extract from other sources. In other words, they look for new victims. Our little Grenada has become an incubator for this kind of prostitute behavior, where people actively act in a manner as if the word next completes their entire vocabulary. But I warn you folks, a truly humble person will never be untrue to himself or others. He will surely realize that there is greatness in every Grenadian, because Grenada is a great place indeed. Playing small is not humility. It is actually disobedience while your destiny goes untouched. Folks, this is Mother's Day. I bid you farewell here. I'm in, I'm out, and I'm gone. Thanks for joining. Continue to share. See you next week at the same time and same place for more extraordinary programming. So until then, stay safe, stay well, remain vigilant, stay lifted. But remember, don't forget to stay focused. To you mothers of this land, and wherever you may be taking in this broadcast, happy Mother's Day once again. You can find me normally, folks, on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. Just type in my name, Edward or Eddie Frederick. No fake accounts. Subscribe, like, and share. And be prepared to receive your mental multivitamins as straight up as I deliver them. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a productive week, my dear say. Take great care of your wonderful selves, folks.
Want to stay informed, get educated, and feel empowered? Stay tuned, where information is power.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
This has been Edification, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The Center for Democracy and Good Governance is a sound organization established to promote and strengthen democracy.
I want the best for my family, so every meal has to be perfect. Every bite has to say, There's no doubt in my mind that the best in frozen meats and vegetables has to come from the Country Cold Store. Hams, turkeys, sausages, beef, pork, chicken. I just don't know my family is in safe hands. Thank you, Country Cold Store, for being there for us for the past 40 years.
There are some interesting specials available at Country Cold Store's Mini Mart while stocks last. Take advantage of these specials as they assist you to stretch your limited funds.
The Country Cool Store, providing the best in frozen meats and vegetables since 1969.
Need a personal integrity booster shot? Your prescription is right here. Tune in with Eddie Frederick every week. Information is power.
Attention all forward-thinking companies. Sure, you can do with a continuous positive boost to your image and impact your bottom line. If you think training is expensive, try not training and you will experience a perpetual downward spiral in patronage on account of increased dissatisfied customers. Take things into your hands and engage the best at motivation and customer care training with a tried and tested track record. Visit www.efrederick.com now and learn how you can change the atmosphere in your business and improve the customer experience for everyone who does business with you. Spice Island Beach Resort and Belmont Estate are two such local entities of world renown that have benefited tremendously from ongoing customer care, social skills, and motivation training. Training changes everything for the better for any business and every team member. Enhance employee performance through increased awareness and passion for the job at hand. Greater potential in your workforce awaits you through engaged, high-energy training that works. Log on now, www.efrederick.com.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.